Just say maybe scream or run. I don't know. One of those options.
No, it's a affectation of the guy I'm borrowing it from. Give me a couple of days, I'll probably give it a name.
In case you were wondering, you are watching Epic Sketch Time. And I'm Mark Monlux, your host for today. This is a weekly online drawing group. We meet every Monday at approximately 4:30 Pacific time in the continental U.S., but anyone in the world is welcome to join us. Just contact me via my Twitter at Mark Monlux, or contact me via my email address, which is also markmonlux@comcast.net. Look in the doobly-doo below on YouTube for the contact information. Fellas, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Bill Morse. I'm a cartoonist and illustrator based in Seattle, Washington. I also do a online webcomic called Rhapsodies.
And hey, everybody, my name is Ian Castrita. You can find my stuff at unfedartist.com, and my webcomic is called Employees Only, and you can find that at employeesonlycomic.com. So, how's everybody doing?
Oh, had a crazy weekend. I was house sitting for some friends taking care of their energetic Shiba Inu, who is not my biggest fan.
Well, okay. Shiba Inu? Wait, what's that?
They're those little fox-like dogs with a curly tail.
Oh, I guess I need to Google this, huh? Let me see.
They're pretty popular they're pretty trendy and hip over here. I don't know if you've seen them down in your neck of the woods. They're also frequently mistaken for a Japanese Spitz. I don't know if they're the same breed or not.
This isn't like a little orange Pomeranian, are you?
No, definitely not a Pomeranian.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen some internet memes with this type of dog. I can't remember which one it is, but
they're smart and energetic, and the one downside, at least from my perspective, is they're very much a 1 to 2 people dog, and when you're that third person, they don't approve.
So, I mean, is it aggressive? Does it attack you or something? Or is it just like...
Barks a lot.
Wait, what was that?
No, she just barks a lot.
Oh, barks a lot. I gotcha.
Oh, I'm having a lot of problems controlling my my mouse. I'm trying to sometimes when I have my my monitor going, it prefers my pen tool to the mouse, and it becomes a bit of a problem though when I do a split screen and I have to do something on the other monitor.
Have you updated the driver for your?
Oh, I don't bother updating anything.
Well, there you go.
So I'm going to be working on today my Monster and Dames illustration. I've got the rough draft and the inking done. I'm going to show you it in layers because the overall composite is a little scrambled to look at right now. This is the little girl is going to be in a radio flyer, and she's going to have all these cookies flying out behind her with these various boxes as well. And this is all set in a nice oh no, what happened to my oh, there are my trees in a nice mountain path, yeah, with a little bit of dust, and there's a in the background behind her.
Oh, nice. You fixed the major problems of the composition you were having with when you showed me the rough.
So here's what it is right now when you look at it all together. And because there's no differentials, no fills, it's looking a little funky. But this section, this bottom right-hand corner, I'm going to deal with later. I might add a bush or something. Right now, I'm still trying to position these cookies off the hems. Right, I'm trying to decide.
Yeah, I can see that's going to be a problem. Both the the top one at least looks like it's stuck to his finger.
Yeah, or the bottom. I mean, the thing is, they're both tangent in the same position.
Mm-hmm.
So I can possibly have one tangented, but I need to have one loose, and I think I'm going to have to make this one up here the loose one. So I'm going to fix that first, and then I'm going to start coloring. What are you guys working on today?
Well, I am starting. I'm tentatively beginning my annual exercise of masochism, which is my Christmas story, and at the moment I am working on the most masochistic element of my Christmas story, which is the first Sunday strip, which introduces the main location for the this year's story, which is titled "At the Markets of Madness."
And I am just working on just a regular strip for my stuff. I don't have anything special going on, but what you guys got going on is amazing. So really nice stuff.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. If people are looking for a recording of last week's episode, you won't find one because whenever there's only two of us showing up, we don't bother to record it. It just gets a little dull with you guys chatting back and forth.
Even when the conversation is interesting.
Were you guys talking tax law or something? What was going on?
Oh no, we were doing our fallback, which was movies. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. I should have known. And Mark, you said we got a few more faces that might show up today. Like, were you doing some outreach or something, or just people showing interest?
I finally was able to get a hold of Locke and get his email address to send out. I'm beginning to think that maybe I need to send out an email reminder in the morning with the list. So
yeah, because I saw the like from him on the Twitter feed.
And I'm thinking that what I'm going to do is create put all the names that I currently have onto a MailChimp mailing list. And that way I can put out a link for people to subscribe if they want to be in on the mailing, and they don't have to contact me personally. They'll just go there, and that will also allow for people to unsubscribe, and I won't face the same problem as I was facing earlier today when Ian mentioned about somebody who wanted to be off the list.
Yeah, I saw messages from her for the past 3 weeks, and so I knew you probably weren't.
Was that on Google, or where was that?
So yeah, if you go to Google Hangouts,
okay,
and not the Hangout screen that we're in with the group chat, but just the Hangout for the invites, where you get the notice to join the video call.
Okay, I'll have to. Yeah, I'm not finding that on my end very easily. No wonder I haven't been seeing it. Well, thank you.
I just didn't want her to get ticked off at you. I figured it was an honest mistake.
Yeah. I apologize, but hopefully I've removed your email address off, and you're free and clear. I'm going to Google right now to see if I can find and apologize to her directly.
Yeah, well, I wonder if there's just like an all-in-one, like easy solution to organize and set up these video things, because you kind of have like the Twitter thing going, and then you were just talking about MailChimp, and you're using Hangouts, and it's just like, even Hangouts, like she was sending her messages via Hangout, but you weren't seeing them because it wasn't in the group chat of the actual broadcast. It was in the invite chat. And it's just like, I think the complication isn't making it easy for you or anybody else.
Yeah, the problem is that we are doing this via Hangout, and it's actually, but it's even more complicated because Google Plus has really changed the way it's been operating, and YouTube has changed the way that it's been operating. And now, in order to do this Hangout, I don't go to Google or per se. I go to YouTube, and I start it from there. And the Hangout community group that I originally started and used for announcements on this has fallen by the wayside because nobody goes there anymore.
Hmm.
And the listings don't show up there. They're not easy for me to post there. I have to really juggle things around. I think what I have been finding easy to do is I just have a Word document right now that has a bunch of people's emails addresses, and I just copy and paste those into the invite list. Now what I'm going to do is start, what's nice is I'm into MailChimp nearly at least once a week, and usually earlier in the day, and I can see when people have subscribed or added themselves to the list, so I can update my Word document so I can do that cut and paste a lot easier. But no, right now there is no nice uniform thing. And I'm sure Stowe would come out with an even simpler solution if he was still part of this group. But he still wants to be. He just doesn't have internet access like he used to. By the way, the image that I drew last week, was that the guy spewing? Or was that a different image?
Stealing?
No, spewing, vomiting.
Oh, yes, it was. Wait a minute. Yeah, it was that was the one with the, another one of the secular ones where it was reacting to somebody quoting Psalms, wasn't it?
Oh, it was just, it was kind of a secular thing, but it was more about just someone spewing their own beliefs without much consideration to the listener. Anyway, that particular one, not surprising, got put on hold. He promises to use it. It's just that his blog subject changed. I ended up drawing what? Let's see. I'll show you what I ended up drawing. So here's what I ended up drawing for the guy. We're calling it Stapler.
Uh-huh.
And again, what I did was I have did my basic lines, went in and added my color. Then I added, I wanted to do a lot of elaborate details on this guy's cloak here, so I added that separately. Then I added my tint layer, and then my tone layer. And then I was trying to decide between just a square background and this gradiated background, but we decided to go with this just the square background. And that was last week's illustration I did for him.
And what a fun gig you got. That's a weekly thing?
It's supposed to be every other week, but what happens is he often has ideas, and as this turned out, like I said, he knew that his topic that we had already drawn the illustration for, the spew thing, he was shelving that for the moment. He wanted to do this other thing. So yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll actually get a couple weeks where I don't have to draw something. He's already come up with another image that he wants me to draw, and I thought about doing the concept work for that tonight, but I really want to spend time working on my Monsters and Dames image, because the deadline for that is the 11th, and I'd like to get it done before then.
Understood. I was just wondering though, are the all of them expected to have the title on them, or is the I mean the a area and the thing for the Monster and Dames label or something like that?
No. Usually, the person who is selected, a notable artist is usually selected for the Monsters and Dames, and they are given instructions as to where the dead space should be and such.
Right. For some reason, the only one that's sticking in my head right now is the Arthur Adams one with the creature in the Black Lagoon.
Now this sounds new to me. Could you explain Monster and Dames a little bit more?
It's a promotional book that they do for the Emerald City Comic Con, and the theme, and so lots and lots of comic artists do illustrations for this this book, and the theme is Monsters and Dames. So like King Kong and Fay Ray, etc.
More specifically, it's done for the Children's Hospital. Proceeds go to that. They do a limited run of the book. They're usually sold out on the first day. Only artists who are part of the event can submit work, but submissions, even though you submit work, doesn't mean that it's going to get in. It's a juried book. So the quality is then controlled, because there's a lot of people at comic book conventions that, face fact, they're a little clunky. But that said, even I didn't get in. I've applied before and not got in.
So it's pretty competitive then?
Well, people like to get into Monster and Dames, that's for sure. And everyone goes, oh, cool, you got in to Monsters and Dames. One of the benefits of getting in is that everybody stops by your table to get signatures.
Oh.
When I was in a couple years ago, I wasn't in last year because I didn't even get into Emerald City last year. but I got into Monsters and Dames the year before that. And I would say that 1 out of 3 people who came by to get a signature also bought something at the table. I also sent my booth buddy out to stand in line for the book, and it took him a couple hours to get it.
So it's pretty popular and in demand then.
And the artists who are part of the book, they automatically get a copy. But I wanted a second copy because I wanted to give it to my friend who was helping me out at the booth. He had no idea I was going to buy it for him. So it's nice that he stood in line to get it. So,
But you made him stand in line for his own book?
well, he didn't know. He thought he was standing in line for me.
Oh, okay.
Here you go. Also, he was able to pick up my copy while I was there, so that was nice.
I've never exhibited it at the Phoenix Comic Con, but I know that that there's like a contest for the passes, the badges that people wear. I'm guessing Emerald City does the same thing, right?
Possibly. First time. They pretty much.
I don't think so. I think they're. I think Emerald City chooses who's going to be doing the passes.
Yeah, they have this pair of mascots, and so the theme is pretty much stuck with them, isn't it?
Gee, I'm trying to remember. I don't think so. But hang on, let me look at. I have a section on my wall where every lanyard from all the conventions for the last 10 years are on there. I found one from 2010, but that goes back a little bit before ReedPop bought them out, so I'm not sure what they're doing. I'll have to ask this year when I go in. It wouldn't surprise me if they are doing that as well, but I haven't heard anything. I've only heard about the Monsters and Dames. So my color scheme that I'm going to go with is I'm planning on the girl having reds and yellows, the healthy warm tone of her skin, and I may stick with oranges and in the uniform instead of green, just because I want to have that front pop. Either that, I'm going to stick with the lime green uniform. Then I'm going to have the Bigfoot character. He's going to be more of a neutral with browns, and he'll fall in the mid-range. And then my plan is then to do nothing but the cool colors, blue and greens in the background. That way I have a red and a red popping against a green popping against a, with a brown in the middle size, and maybe some little highlights other than tones and tints on Bigfoot and stuff. If I still have some time to do that.
This thing's due on the 11th, you said?
Yeah, but the thing is, I don't have that much time to work. I can only work on it in the evenings because I got my regular projects with my clients to work on during the day.
Yeah.
So I basically have about 4 hours to complete this. Is my personal deadline.
Yeah, I just started. I mean, I've always kind of done this, but like blocking out, like, okay, this is when I'm working on this. This is when I'm working on that. Like, I've always kind of had it in my head, but it never really worked out effectively. So now I'm trying to really hold myself to a strict schedule of like, okay, this is when I cook, and this is when I work on this, and this is when I'm going to work on that. So we'll see how it goes.
I have this thing I call the double entry system, and I've been doing it ever since college, where I write down at the beginning of the day a schedule on 15-minute increments of what I plan to do during the day, and then I write right next to it what I actually do during the course of the day, and that kind of forces me to keep on top of myself. It also helps me track which clients are taking more time than others.
Sure.
But yeah, you have to keep track of time with your projects after the fact. Otherwise, you spend way too much time on a particular client. So for me, it's almost second nature to write that schedule at the beginning of the day. And I'm beginning to think that, this late in my career, that perhaps I should start planning things out more on a weekly basis, because going day by day, I'm seeing that I'm falling behind on some of my projects because I'm not looking forward fast enough.
Well, I've been pretty good. My main client is billed hourly, so it's easy enough to track hours on that. But as far as like my other stuff, like the personal projects and the things that I'm trying to push forward in my career, yeah, it's always just been kind of like squeezing it in, and as a result, it doesn't really get as much focus and time as I really need it to have. So that's the big thing for me, is to make more time for my personal stuff instead of just trying to like, oh, dang it, I need to work on this. Since you guys were talking about contests, here's one that I came across, which I don't know if you know about, but it's just posted on the video group chat. It's called Creators for Creators. It's a $30,000 grant for a graphic novel, and there's it needs to be 64 to 100 pages, but the application is just 5 completed pages due by March.
What's the contest written like? Do they keep the rights to it?
I don't think so. If they did, I wouldn't be interested in it. I think it's put together by some of the image guys, so I'd be surprised if it was.
Wayne, I think I've come across this one before. The person that we had at CNW was mentioning a handful of events like this, and I think that was one of them.
Bill, for our audience, tell people what CNW stands for.
CNW is Cartoonist Northwest, which is a group of cartoonists, professional, amateur, and just fans and enthusiasts that gather to talk about a different topic every month. And with any luck, a lot of people have started their careers there.
Huh.
And at the moment, I just started my second term as president there, having honored the traditional way of picking presidents, which consists of not having an excuse when the vote comes along.
Hey guys, I'm looking at the about page for this, and it says no matter their choice, the recipient retains all rights to their work. So
that's something I can get behind. It's these contests where you submit your work and they take all rights to your work, even if you don't win.
Oh God, yeah, that's awful. I've seen that, and I know what you're talking about, and yeah, that's really sad that there's a lot of naive artists who get taken advantage of by submitting something they're really happy and proud about, and finding out they no longer own it.
That was one of the frustrating things back when Cartoonist Northwest had a forum where there were these tons of people who were talking about these all these projects that they would love, that they were looking for cartoonists to do gratis, and these people pretty much thought they were doing us a favor. And then I kept having people who fellow members who would object when I objected, where they're going, Bill, you're treating this like a business. And I'm going, yes.
Huh. Yeah, that's almost as bad. Of course, it's a business.
But this was sort of a case of where the first thing I learned when I went pro was not to fall for the we're going to check out the bulletin boards at the art school line.
Yeah, this contest, again, looking at the About page, it's put together by Iron Circus Comics, which is Spike. I can't remember her full name. Spike Trotman. And Image Comics. And so both of those are pretty well-known institutions for protecting, creator rights. So.
Yeah.
Or at least they've established a reputation.
Oh yeah, I mean, if somebody told me that Image was become what it is now when it first came out, I wouldn't have believed them. But it is very impressive what Image Comic is these days.
So I'm looking at these color combinations I have for, this is sort of like my fallback template that I've made for things. And I think, given all the wood and green tones, that I'm going to be using the Eagle template on this project.
Mm-hmm.
The Big Bad Voodoo Daddy, they're brighter, but I think the warm colors of the Eagle are going to work a lot better.
If you want, I can send you the link to my color collection, cooler collection. I've been came up with I collected a whole lot of palettes every time I visit my folks in Maine.
Well, thanks, Bill. I'll be happy with this.
Okay.
But you may want to put the link in the comments, and I'll post it in the doobly-doo.
Okay. Yeah, love having one of my favorite apps on my iPhone. So it pretty much allows you to make palettes on the spot. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, time's really flown.
Yeah.
I barely even noticed.
Let's see.
Bill, how much time do you think you put into that comic so far?
Oh, this is actually less than you'd think. This is maybe 4 hours.
It's not bad.
I mean, the real time sink is the coloring.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things I'm still trying to get down, and to be honest, it's kind of like an artistic debate in my head too, just like streamlining, kind of making this optimized process for creating comics quickly, so I can just like reliably set them out, you know, one by one. And I know every comic is different. Like you can't you know reliably say, oh, okay, this comic's always going to take 2 hours to do. But
yeah, for me, it's the create. I know this sounds almost hypocritical considering we're supposed to be creative, but I frequently find, at least as far as my comics is concerned, it's the creative process that is the most difficult part. I mean, if the muse is taking a holiday from me, I'll frequently waste a whole lot of time doodling. But if, for example, of a lot of these strips, if I go in with a script, I pretty much turn on the audiobooks and just sit down and crank out the pictures.
yeah.
Right brain thing.
Well, I think for me, like when I start on something and then I look at the clock and I'm like, oh man, I'm not going to get any sleep tonight. Like that's kind of like cool because you know I'm really into the artwork and everything, and it's you know it's coming along, but at the same time it's like, I have things to do and I can't be you know tired all day tomorrow.
No,
So,
that's something I'm fighting this week as well. I had let's just say I had a bad sleep night last night, and so I definitely am, even though there's a lot of things I probably could do an all-nighter for, I really need my 8 hours tonight.
I don't even bother trying to do any type of work after 8 o'clock as far as drawing goes.
The only time I do that is if I really, really, really blew my deadline and I have something due the next day. But trust me, it's not advised.
Unlike you young whippersnappers, I just don't have it in me anymore to go into the wee hours of the night working.
Yeah, I have. It sort of reminds me of my all-night darkroom marathons I used to do.
Bill, you faded in and out there for
Yeah,
what
yeah, I could hear me on your end. Am I sounding okay right now?
yeah, it sounds better.
Yeah, you sound better now.
Okay. And I remember doing all-nighters in the darkroom back when my focus was photography. And let me tell you, you think your normal college all-nighters are bad. Add fumes and red light to the equation, along with the sleep deprivation.
Oh, you're not getting any pity from me. I had, when I was first starting out, I was doing a lot of work for a company called Woodstrom and Associates at Art Attack. They had a joint venture going. And my entire day, I'd get up in the morning while it was dark, go into a dark room and run a stat camera for 12 hours. And those fumes, and then I come out and it's dark again because the sun is set, and I wasn't seeing daylight. So
I had a delivery job that was like that. It was this really bizarre split shift that started at 5. Then I had a 4-hour, almost a 3.5-hour lunch break, and then went quitting.
But you were at least had lights around you. You know, it's not.
But it was a really disorienting feeling when you suddenly realized that once you subtracted the go to sleep thing, the period between getting home and going to work was shorter than your lunch break.
I used to work a graveyard shift as a bellman right after I got out of college. I was stupid when I graduated. I thought I was so good that I was bound to get a job as an artist. So that didn't happen. But I just stayed with my college job, and I became the graveyard bellman. And there were some mornings when I'd get home, or I'd be driving home at 6 in the morning on the freeway, and I'd have to slap myself to stay awake. And I just didn't want to pull over and take a nap and then go home. I just wanted to get home. So I would do that maybe once or twice a month. It was pretty awful.
Mm-hmm.
Old job war stories. Love it.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It was funny with that Darkroom all-nighter. One time it was so bad I convinced myself I had taken pictures of aliens in Stonehenge.
What?
I mean, they looked like squid walking upright on their tentacles, and so I was somehow in this state. I managed to maintain my objectivity and wanted to make absolutely sure that I had photographed what I thought I did, and so I was blowing them up about 100 times their original size before I realized they were out of focus tourists.
Oh. You're just like ready to call X-Files for a moment.
Yeah, but at the same time, somehow I was rational enough to know that I had to be absolutely sure before I made a fortune with the Inquirer.
Oh man.
Did anyone go see a movie this weekend?
No, I've been waiting for a friend to come back from visiting his parents to see Ragnarok.
Oh, Thor's so good. I went to see that a couple of weeks ago. That was
cool. I'm hearing a few mixed opinions, but I think the worst opinion I got was from a guy who liked Justice League and was being defensive.
wow. I wonder why people feel that way. Is it's like they both can't be good. Like one has to be better than the other. Like that. guess this is the way people think, but
Yeah. Well, with me these days, I'm very picky about what I see in theaters. I mean, I'm sure I'll like it just fine when I get the video. DVD, I mean.
well, I finally saw Wonder Woman, and that was good.
That was
And,
very good.
yeah, and then I saw Suicide Squad, and not as good.
Very disappointing, yes.
But I want to see Justice League. You know, I'm just a fan of comics. You know, I'd like to see a good movie, obviously, but I'm just worried that with Batman and Superman, or Batman v Superman, like the one in the theaters is pretty much like most people tell you watch the extended version, the version that wasn't in the theaters. And so,
I always have trouble with the whole director's cut thing. I mean, not that I against it, but it always I always believe that sometimes a director's willingness, that the having to fight for certain things and having to come up with another idea out of compromise is part of the creative process in itself. And when a director is able to pretty much concede every single time because he knows he can have whatever he wanted to do in the director's cut, I think that detracts from the quality of the film as a whole. Or that's just me.
Now, did we talk about how bad Marvel Mutant movie soundtracks were?
No.
yeah, I told you guys about the Every Frame a Painting YouTube series, or yeah.
And
Uh-huh.
They're one episode about the Marvel movies.
Oh, I got to check this out. Oh, another good one. Speaking of Marvel mutant movies, any thoughts on the New Mutants trailer?
I haven't seen it.
They're sort of doing it as a horror movie.
Oh, okay. I've seen clips or something of it. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and Maisie Williams is playing Wolfsbane. Every frame a picture, did you say?
Every frame a painting. It's the Marvel episode is amazing. It's just really well done. I haven't seen all the rest of the series, but let me find a link and
I just
put
found
it up for everyone to.
So I have a question for you.
There we go. What you think so far?
Is this going to color, or is it just going to
Yes,
stay
yes,
black and white?
Definitely going to go into color.
Oh, okay.
If it were black and white, I know it. I do admit that it would have a way to go.
Yeah, so far so good, I guess.
oh, I think I had a window up in the middle of this broadcast for a while. I hope that doesn't come across. I wonder if when I switch over and invite people, or when I'm using the controls, if it shows up in the video. I don't think it does.
Oh, this is looking good, Mark.
Yeah, I think you're well on your way to submitting this within your deadline. Are you adding shading or any other additional like rendering?
I'll be at my first step after I'm done with the initial flat fills is I'll be adding a tone layer and a tint layer, and then from there I'll be going in, and I want to, on the Bigfoot character, let me pull him up. But he's what I'm going to color in next. I'm leaving her outfit uncolored right now because I still haven't decided whether or not I'm going to go with the lime green on her outfit, in which case I'll change these lime green bushes in the background to something darker. I think I might change them darker anyway. I think that the trees towards the top should be brighter, and then the trees farther down should be darker to give it more dense. But yeah, it's moving along pretty well. It's always nice to have your colors done ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
It makes this part go relatively fast. But yeah, I think if given the 4 hours I've given myself, and I'm spending 1 on it so far, so yeah. One of the reasons I don't mind doing these is it gives me some art for me to go ahead and do prints with anyway. But what I don't like is when the folks at ECC ask you not to have prints available at the show for anything you do for Monsters and Dames. They kind of want you to wait off until next year. And I know that some of the artists just don't bother listening to that. They figured, hey, the books have sold out on the first day. I think I can sell prints after the book is sold. So,
what's ECC's rationale for that?
They want to make the books a rarity, and but honestly, I don't know why the rationale for that would be. If we can't have a Monsters and Dames book, having a print is the next best thing.
Yeah. And you think one would kind of feed into the other, like if somebody really likes what they see in the book, it'd just be an obvious transition to go to the table. And then likewise, if somebody like really likes your print, you could say, oh, well, there's a book that has like a lot more artists who did stuff like this. And
yeah, but like I said, that book sells out usually within the first day. And then you can't get it. So they're going to be opening up on Thursday. That book is going to be pretty much gone. Why do they say like, you can have prints available for the rest of the show? Some of the artists I know do go ahead and I'm looking at this and I'm seeing some weird tangent lines that I might have to go back and fix. Like if you look down underneath the wheel that's on the back, I got 2 paths crossing over really funky. Right down in this area right here. All this looks like a mess.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
I can clean that up at the final stage.
To be fair though, it doesn't really pop out at me. So if you put it to the very end as kind of like, do I want to hit that or hit my deadline? I'd probably wait on that, but
yeah, I think you're right.
Oh.
So Monday is my wife's and I date night. We always go out to dinner.
So what cuisine are you selected this time?
Well, I'm going to opt for some Japanese food or some American version of Japanese food. There's a Trapper Sushi that opened up between the park and ride and the house. And we like the rolls. It's just a matter of whether or not she feels like having rolls. Last time she was feeling like having sushi. Now she really feels like having Japanese food. There's a couple other restaurants we can go to, but depending on what traffic is like, one place that we really love, they don't take reservations, and we've been lucky that we've only had to stand outside once. Let's see what's a nice dark color for this.
It's 5:30.
Well, is that the end of it, guys? Or
well, I want to get your opinion on this brown color for the base of the Bigfoot before you go. Should I go with this one? I'm not particularly fond of this one, or
that one, yeah. The last one was too close to the green. This one
Yeah, I think this brown one. That's there is another one. Let me try. I was hoping for something a little darker. Let's see. Oh, that was the dark one. Never mind. Okay, I'll just go with that. So you've been watching another episode of Epic Sketch Time. If you'd like to participate, please contact me via email at markmonlux.com or via Twitter at markmonlux. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Bill.
Yep.
Bye. See you guys.
You all have a good one.